What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we're cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines. And who better to join me today than Aiden? Why don't you say what's up?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Sandwich, where everything we say is subliminal messaging.
Subliminal, but we are here to thank you for liking these videos, subscribing to Game Sandwich if you're new here, do all that, and join our community Discord. Links to that is in the video description down below. Now, now, if you've been living under a rock, or, I don't know, you're just not in tune, there's this company in gaming called EA. Very divisive, very...
Who's that?
Yeah, it's small.
Never heard of them.
Indie company. You've never heard. It's only my niche audience that really gets this. But, there's a company, EA. Over the weekend, there's been this story that potentially they're looking to sell and go private. Now, this is all coming from a paywalled report, of course, because why not? But we're going to shout out Mike Straw here from Insider Gaming. And apparently there's claims that investors include Silver Lake and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, the PIF. According to this deal, and this is apparently going to be the largest leverage buyout ever, not adjusting for inflation. And discussions on the price are still underway, but the deal could value EA as much as $50 billion. And that's according to the Wall Street Journal. Do we do this? The $50 billion? The Dr.
No,
Evil?
because he always went $1 million.
Oh, well.
This is
billion?
like 500 times that.
Yeah, we gotta do the double. We gotta do the double. So.
I'm sorry, like 50 billion times this.
Exactly. So, first of all, pretty big news. EA, like, whenever we talk about successful gaming companies, whether we like it or not, EA is one of those companies, like we were just talking about before. You would consider them in good standing as far as, like, they don't need to sell. Like, they're not, like, hemorrhaging money. Like, they're
the
fine.
one-hit wonder that keeps making that one-hit wonder, and it succeeds. Kudos to you, The Sims. Oh, yeah, and they also make sports games.
Like, what is it? What do they call it now? It's not FIFA anymore. It's like football...
FC.
Yeah, football. Stop.
Oh, and don't forget, they had a hand in Star Wars. There we go.
There was that. Aiden, I want to first ask you, EA selling, does this come as a surprise? Like, is this to be expected? Like, what's the deal here? What are the vibes on your end?
I don't know. From my perspective, it is EA, and I never expected them to just be in bad standing at all. Like, I never expected them to be sold by any means, because it was just like EA exists. Okay, cool. They go about doing their thing. They're like Nintendo. Nintendo's, and EA just EAs. I mean, they do their own thing. They make sports games. They claim they know what they're doing with The Sims when all they're really doing is just releasing packs that people have to buy for like $20. It's like, that isn't worth the value that you pay for it, but hey, whatever. And then, they're never going to make The Sims 5 or Sims 4 or whatever. So there you go.
Now, because I am totally not smart, I'm going to bring in an article from thegamer.com, Joshua Robertson. Shout out to you. Now, for those of you who don't know what going private means and what this deal could result from EA here. For starters, EA going private means it will no longer be owned by the public, meaning its stocks will be removed from the stock exchange and will instead be owned by private investors. So, there's your stock knowledge of the day. By going private, there are a few benefits that EA will also be able to take advantage of, such as a lower level of scrutiny thanks to it no longer being publicly owned. EA will be monitored both by the public and the government a lot less, thus allowing it to implement various long-term strategies that don't appear to be beneficial in the here and now. It also doesn't have to appease public shareholders, allowing the company to take more risk. It goes on by saying, like, this could be a good thing, this could be a bad thing, and obviously, whenever it comes to companies like EA, I do think it's always a 50-50 split. It sounds good up front, but then there was this notion of microtransactions like you brought up, and then there's another layer to this story. This is where I'm going to pass it off to you and your prowess, because you are far more smarter than me. What do we got here?
Okay, so two things. One, the microtransaction aspect of it. With them going private, you have specifically giving them the rights to take more risks, like you mentioned from the article. And with those risks, like with the company notoriously known for flooding their games with microtransactions, they could probably perform like a Ubisoft and go, oh, okay, well, now we're going to put advertisements on our pause screens, or like now we're going to like put microtransactions in a game for you to access a new area or something. Like they could push the envelope and see how far like people are willing to go in order to play any of their games. Maybe if you want to make that field goal, you have to pay $2.99. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how far they'll go with it, but it is something that they can take a lot more risks with. So it's like I don't trust EA ever, and I've said that before in another video. Now I just feel deja vu because I've said specifically I never trust EA with anything. I didn't trust them when they were public. I don't trust them with government oversight even. Like I don't trust that they aren't going to be like, "Oh yeah, well now we have to pay now you have to pay like $10 in order to access this area because our company is broke even though we just sold for $50 billion." You know, like I have a feeling that's like something they would pull. You know, like Kevin, like do you actually trust EA with any of that?
Well, this is where I'm going to bring up one last point from thegamer.com where it says apparently this news shouldn't really come as a surprise of how EA makes games going forward, unless the company one day finds itself in a dire financial trouble and can no longer fall back on selling shares. That is where you brought up about the microtransactions and shoveling whatever they want into games to kind of make up that cost. That is where things start, especially for me. Like, I've played games like Madden, I've played a little bit of FIFA. Like, I've been in their microtransaction radar. Like, I've seen what they're trying to do within games. And then I start to think about, all right, what about this oversight? Like, what are the parameters of them? Like, what are they going to get away with now? And it's like, okay, as a fan, you're a little worried, especially how much of a stranglehold they have over like the Madden license and football in general. It's like now you're like, I don't think we're ever going to see a different game, like another company make a football game or whatever, or a Madden using like actual NFL teams. It just really sucks. And coming from a person who grew up on like NFL Street, NFL Blitz, like those fun games, like those arcadey games, and now we're just getting the Maddens. It's like now that dream is almost gone, or it definitely is.
You can totally put a little graphic for me if you want. I'll even make one. I don't care, but just a little Aiden side thought here. Boop, Aiden side thought. Nintendo could just totally make a Mario football game, and instead of the Miami Dolphins, they could do the Miami Delfinos.
I've side tangent real quick. I want to put this out here and now. I've been shouting from the rooftops that Nintendo needs to make a freaking Mario football game. Why they haven't and just chose to make another tennis game, beyond me. But that's a whole other video. We can kind of get into the weeds there.
Yeah. We can do that another time. But
yeah,
but still, Miami Delfinos. That come on, that works.
Oh, come on. I can't. They got to do it. But yeah, back to the EA thing.
Yeah, but anyway, with the EA thing, now I'm gonna open up my can of worms. Like usually, you're the conspiracy theory person here. Usually, you are. Here you go. I have my little tinfoil hat now. Like we need a GIF of well, not a GIF, but we need a PNG of a tinfoil hat that just
gotta put it on
over my head. But anyway, so for those of you who don't know, now I don't know the entire history of it, but just like brief history lesson for you of like politics. It got real bad back in the day, like 60s, 70s, 80s, and everything. Long story short, a lot of Midwestern states are algorithmically leaning towards a more red side than a blue side. Hey, and it has a lot to do with like how political strategy went down during that era. But anyway, Jared Kushner is one of the people who is involved in the deal. Now, Jared Kushner, I don't know anything about him other than he is very Republican leaning and that he is Donald Trump's son in law. And so, with that being said, if they're going private and Jared Kushner has like influence over them because he owns EA or he's part owner of EA or whatever, I just fear that this could be like a political influence. Now, I don't care if you're one way leaning or the other way leaning or if you're in the middle, whatever. I don't care about what your political alignment is. I just feel like gaming should not be a space of like where politics should be. And I just don't feel like there should be political messaging in it. And I just fear that if they're involved, that means that they could potentially influence EA to be like, oh, okay, well now we're going to suddenly start putting advertisements in my Madden games that are all for like strictly like politically owned businesses or something like politically influenced businesses or anything like that. Like that, or they could just be like, oh, okay, well here, let me put an advertisement for a political party in my game or whatever have you, you know?
Mm.
And I just like I don't think that would be a good idea. I think it would be very influential, especially for younger children and everything. And I just no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I think that's just a bad way to go about politics.
it it's certainly a conversation to be had where it's like, okay, it's like taking my dog who loves food and like leaving a steak on the floor in the kitchen while I'm up here recording videos, where it's like, you know, the dog loves the steak. You know that if you leave it in an area where he can get it, he's gonna try to eat it. So it's kind of like, you know, EA has this through line where it's like, now it's private, now it has a connection to people in charge, where it's like, oh, we can kind of like finagle and dance around a little bit, and now no one would know like what happened. Like, we can just kind of do it. So that conversation is there. And before we were talking, like we got on recording, politics and gaming, especially oddly enough, EA games have had a history where Obama was running for office and there were in-game political ads in Madden '09 and Burnout Paradise where stuff like that existed. So it's like, okay, like this is where we're at now in gaming, and this is where things start to come up, and I don't know what that essentially means. Like, for me, I'm viewing it as, all right, EA's going private. There's a through line to government where they can kind of be like, oh, like, take care of my guy. Like, he kind of has like stake in EA. It's only going to benefit him. That, as a consumer, that worries me, where it's like, all right, what are you going to do to try to squeeze more money out of this? So I guess that is the overall sentiment, and just kind of like being aware of what's happening here, because I'm sure there's a regular Joe Schmo. I mean, like me, even as much as like I'm in gaming and I've talked about it, when this topic was brought up, I was like, I don't know too much about this. But now, like, reading into it and kind of getting informed, I'm like, okay, like, this might be something. This might be something big.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you're on one side or the other side. It's just like this should not be like I don't like knowing about the Obama administration doing that. And I fear that it could be something that the Trump administration perpetuates now if EA goes private and Jared Kushner is involved in it, because then there's your link. You know,
Yeah.
then there's your link. You go straight through him to the president, and it's like, oh, okay, well now we can use this to reach kids who are playing Madden. I know there's plenty of kids who play sports games, you know, and I don't think it's a space for it. I don't. I think it's just like a place where we could just like, you know, let differences aside and just like enjoy playing a game for each other.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a game with each other, not for each other. But
But it's also the game for each other thing, where it's like, all right, you're hearing this, and it's like, oh, like, what is that? What is that line about, like, benefits for the here and now versus long term? Like, what does that mean for games like Madden? What does that mean for games like Football Club? Like, these aren't like Joe Schmo games where it's like, oh, like it's like they'll find a way out of this. Madden and FIFA, I'm going to call it FIFA, they're arguably two of the biggest games out there, whether we like them or not. Like I think it's just copy and paste. Like these games have influence, they have people behind them, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
what does that audience mean now that this deal might potentially go through? And yeah, it's interesting to see,
Yeah,
gaming.
or talk about The Sims, like you could have
Oh,
advertisements in The Sims store now. You could also have advertisements just like in The Sims in general. Like maybe they put real life advertisements on the city, like billboards in Sims
yeah.
and
Oh,
stuff. Like it it could get dark. It honestly could with EA. And like I said at the beginning of this, I don't trust them at all. I
who
don't
knows?
trust that. I didn't trust them with being public. If they go private, I trust them even less because then I feel like they have even more influence from people who own them. And if the right people don't own them, then that could just end terribly.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. So before we end today's video, we recorded this thinking like, hey, deal could happen sometime later this week. But it turns out, before we hung up our call, EA has now gone private. This is coming from Jason Schreier over on Blue Sky. The leverage buyout will be financed by a staggering $20 billion of debt, which means some little asterisks. Aggressive cost cutting is ahead for EA in the coming months and years. Now, real quick, we got a total buyout of value of $55 billion. So, hey, get your bag, EA. And under the terms of the agreement, the consortium will acquire 100% of EA PIF, rolling over in its existing 9.9 stake in the company. Now, of course, this goes on to talk about money and how shareholders will get a certain amount of cash. But the aggressive cost cutting, I feel like this is a term we've heard before plenty of times in gaming, which most likely means studio closure here, layoffs there. It happened after the Xbox, Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard thing. Aiden, is it wrong to assume that some studios might be in trouble?
All I'm saying is I feel like the studios that are going to be safe are just like the people in general who are going to be safe are specifically going to be anyone working on The Sims,
yeah.
anyone working on Madden, anyone working on FC. Those people are safe. DICE, I hope that you stay alive. I hope that Battlefield 6 does wonders for you, because if not, you're going down. Um, and then, BioWare, I think, is just ultimately screwed. So,
It's so bad.
RIP, rest in pepperonis, as Andrew would say.
It's so bad. And you would normally, like we talked about in this video, how it's like, there was that quote, they can take risk, they can do this and do that. But I mean, 20 billion of debt, aggressive cost cutting here. Yeah, you got to assume the classic layoffs, studio closure, consolidation, get rid of overlap. Like that is what comes with these deals. So, yeah, I just wonder when the first shoe falls, hopefully after we upload this video. But man, very quick turnaround on this. I mean, it's like the story came out, the rumors, then buyout, now we're here. Crazy times.
Yeah, I hope that all the studios that are under EA's control, I hope that you do okay. Um, God, like I don't even know what studios they control except for BioWare, but I hope that you all make it out of this unscathed, but
Yeah.
I highly doubt that you will.
I'm praying for the absolute best for everyone within EA, but seeing prior transactions go down before and, just reading the tea leaves here, yeah, it's not looking good. But, yeah.
Apparently they own Visceral.
Oh,
I feel like Visceral is going to be screwed too.
Hey, but yeah, we just thought we'd throw this bit into the video because, hey, it just happened, might as well. So yeah, we're gonna throw it back to past Kalo and Aiden for the sign off. So yeah, we'll see you guys later. Speaking of ending, not terribly, because we always stick the landing. That about does it here for this episode of Community Kitchen. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you want more gaming content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich, drop a like on this video, and join our community Discord. But as of right now, I've been Kalo, joined by Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, world.
If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.